Hi everyone, welcome to Wow Me Wednesday. Today I have a guest with me, Dr. Kirsten Stein. She's the founder of Athena's Advanced Academy, which is a website that offers online courses for gifted children. And we recently worked together on an introduction video for her website, and you really wanted to memorize your 1 minute presentation on camera. And we tried to figure out what's the best way for her to memorize this and not mess up, right?
Right.
And so I was researching different memorization techniques and found the Mind Palace memorization technique. I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but have any of you seen Sherlock with Benedict Cumberbatch, right? He uses the Mind Palace technique to go back in time and try to remember pieces and evidence and things that happen to help him solve those crimes and mysteries. And so we can use this too when it comes to your presentations, when it comes to your video presentations, and Kirsten used exactly that for her own. And I think it worked well. So I'd love to hear how it went for you and your specific techniques so that we can share with the audience. So yeah, tell us more about how the Mind Palace works.
It was so helpful, and I had remembered that Jessica had mentioned it to me, or when she had mentioned it to me, I remembered when I had heard about it years and years ago, and when she emailed me and said, hey, let's try this, I was so excited because I remembered how effective it was in the class that I had taken. And I just didn't have any opportunity to really need it. So what you do is you create like a map in your mind, and it's really helpful to have somewhere that you're used to going, like your home.
Palace is essentially a place that you're familiar with.
Yes.
Like your home.
Yes. So like when you are in your home, you know where everything is placed. And so what I did was I started at the front of my home where I enter the house at my front door, which makes sense. And then what you do is you go around all of the different areas as you're walking around, creating like a map in your mind, and you assign a number to each of those places. So the front door obviously would be 1. And then as I would continue around, it went all the way up to, I only needed 50. So I went up to 50. And then what you do is you assign a part of the speech to that area. So for example, the front door would be 1, would be welcome. So I would say, welcome to, welcome, my name is Dr. Kirsten Stein. And each section had a different, either a word or a phrase. And as you go around the rooms, you're able to remember exactly what you're supposed to say at those particular moments.
Now you designate an object or a piece of furniture in each room to a phrase or a word, right?
Yes.
Can you go into more detail about it? Give us an example about how you use that?
Yes. In fact, there's one part in my little 1 minute speech where I say I'm going through the Mind Palace in my mind right now, actually. I say, like me, are highly qualified instructors. And so at that point, I was at the sink in my bathroom in my room. And so the sink, you can go into it. So I imagine the teachers that work with me going into it being the instructors, because there are synonyms for teacher. They're teacher, educator, instructor. And I wanted to make sure I used the word instructor because I use teacher in other parts of it. And so I wanted to say instructors are. So I imagine them going into the sink.
The instructors.
Yes. So if you make a picture in your mind, it's a lot more effective because as you're going around the house, you remember, oh, there's a funny little picture of somebody going into the sink.
So if you were to do this yourself, the first step is to go around your house and maybe designate 5 objects or pieces of furniture per room and number them, right?
Yes.
And then you can go around and figure out what pieces of your presentation. For Kirsten, like we said, it was short phrases. If you don't need to memorize word for word, you could do chunks. You could do topics of your presentation.
Definitely.
So you would go around the room, and then you physically walked through your house,
Yes.
right, and touched
Yes.
each of the objects or pieces of furniture.
And said those words as I went around. And you don't even have to number them as long as you know the order, but it's suggested that you put numbers with them just so that you remember the order that you're going.
So I think walking through, visually, when you're going back, you are able to walk through the map in your mind more easily, right?
Definitely. And then when you're delivering the speech or whatever you're doing, you can actually start at that certain segment. So for example, I had some issues with one part of it that actually started in my son's room. So I was able to just start at my son's room and just keep going went through the speech. So that really helped a lot because you don't have to start all the way back at the front door.
Got it.
Yeah.
Is there anything else, any other tips you would suggest for the Mind Palace technique?
I think that just to make it exciting for yourself and make it so that it's memorable, so that it's not just different, like just putting a word on something, but actually making it memorable and making it actually matter to you and personal to you.
Yeah.
So that it makes more of an impact on your mind as well. So that'll make it more exciting as you're going through.
Right. You had an example, I remember you telling me about an uncle that you have.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
His name helped.
My uncle's name is, my great uncle is Uncle Abel. And I needed to say Abel in my speech. And so I imagined his rocking chair, my Uncle Abel's rocking chair, on my couch, so that when I got to that part, I would say Abel. So it makes it a lot easier to memorize. And also, I should mention this too. When you are first learning it, I learned it really super fast. So I would just go around and just touch and go and just keep talking and talking and talking. But then as you have learned it, you're able to slow it down, and with Jessica's help, able to add different voice inflections to different parts and like different pauses. So you're able to manipulate it more because you're not so concerned with, am I remembering the words? Am I remembering everything I have to say? Because then you can start paying attention to other aspects of it.
Right.
It's very helpful.
Right. Once you know the content, then you can get into the nonverbals, the intonations, etc.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
thank you so much for your insight, Kirsten.
No, thank you for helping me. It's wonderful.
That was a great experience and something that I'm going to be utilizing myself for future presentations. So, and thank you all for watching. If you'd like more information about my services or really cool tips and other videos, please check out my website, jessicachangconsulting.com, and leave me your email address so that we can keep in touch and I can send you some great free tips. I'll see you next week.
And Wow Me Wednesday.